Hello and welcome to Story to Satori. Today, I want to welcome a beautiful guest, none other than Ruby Bakshi Kurdi from Switzerland. She's a wonderful woman to have as a guest on this special day of International Women's Day. Welcome to Story to Satori, Ruby, Dr.
Thank
Ruby.
you so much. Thank you so much, Janvi, for inviting me on this platform. I have really been looking forward to have a talk with you and your network.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And today being International Women's Day, I think we have the right person as our guest. And let me introduce Dr. Ruby. She is a TEDx speaker and HR trainer, and she lives in Switzerland. And she is an expert in emotional intelligence, and she has won many awards. There's a big list. I will just refer to a few. Like she has actually spoken at the UN conference for education and leadership, and recently she was awarded as the inspiring Indian women from the House of Parliament, and she has also been nominated for the Mayor's Award in London. And I think unfortunately, because of the certain conditions now prevalent because of the coronavirus and all that, I think she will be receiving it virtually. But then, nevertheless, she is one person we can talk a lot about human values, especially in this day of AI. And if you listen to her TED talk, and I was listening and I was really very touched, and if you read her articles, and she's been spreading awareness about how important it is to have the human values, have the emotional intelligence, and of course, advance with AI. So let's begin this conversation, Dr. Ruby. I wanted to know, what do you think is important for us in this present generation, and especially since you are into the teaching, especially young students from the hospitality industry and many other programs that you keep giving for women, for millennials, why emotional intelligence is so important?
I think emotional intelligence is important because we connect with people through our emotions. If we
Yes.
have something good or bad against anyone, you will show it
Hmm.
automatically in your emotions.
Hmm.
If you're an intelligent person, you can hide it, but
Hmm.
as a emotional person, you can't hide it. You
Yes.
develop it, and if the people like you or do not like you, you somehow make it a, you take it as an initiative that you need to connect.
Hmm.
And the more you connect with the people, the more emotionally you will feel the vibes, and the relationship can develop and be better, much better.
Hmm. Yes, absolutely, I agree. Because we have been. Let me share with my viewers on the podcast and on the show that we have been connected virtually on LinkedIn and other social media, and we've been interacting. But nevertheless, I feel this connection whenever we have the conversations. They're very empowering, and she leaves us with a lot of feeling empowered and encouraged. So, what do you exactly do? How does one feel this? With certain people, we feel suddenly connected, and with so much of, we feel buoyant, we feel we are left feeling very as if we know the person for a long time. And with certain people, we don't just get the vibes, though we want to do it, we just don't feel like doing it. Why does this happen?
Very true. Janvi,
Yeah.
I agree with your comment when I say that I connect with people. It's
Yeah.
because when I talk to people, it's not with
Yeah.
every person I connect. It's just like with
Hmm.
some people, we get those vibes. This is the
Yeah.
person I would like to talk to. This is a person I would like to have
Hmm.
something in the future. So you
Yes.
just talk, and by and by, you either appreciate or do not appreciate, because,
Hmm.
in life, it's not important or it's not necessary that you will like everyone.
Yes.
Sometimes you like some people because you genuinely like them, and
Hmm.
sometimes you like some people because, I would say, because you need to work with them, so you need to
Hmm.
have that harmonious relationship at work,
Yes.
and and respect each other.
Hmm.
But I think as a professor, I use this more and more, connecting with my students, because
Hmm.
it's normal. As professors, sometimes students are like, oh god, it's a boring lecture, they do not like to be in the classes, so it's very
Yeah.
normal. They are there to kill time. They're all the time looking at the watches. So I thought to have an engaging class, it's important to connect with them. And
Yes.
you connect with them, once you empathize with your students, automatically they're there with you. They're not someone who will look at the time or who will think of going away. They are there with you. They're engaged continuation
Yes.
in continuation. So and that's the reason, like with people we meet virtually, we don't connect
Hmm.
with everyone, but with people
Yes.
whom we see common vibes. Like with you, I
Yes.
common vibes, and we
Yes.
did, and here we are talking today.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you very rightly said, that smile and then those genuine conversations we have. I think there is something, it's emotion is nothing but energy in motion, right? I think it's just kind of no matter where you are, it could be in Switzerland and I am in India, but then it just is received and given. And
True.
you so very truly said, honestly, that it doesn't mean we connect with everybody, and
True.
sometimes we need to make the effort because of the context, as you said, when we are in certain situations. I think we really need to make the context, and you are the actually a specialist, an expert in emotional intelligence as well as HR training. So
Mm-hmm.
how important it is, because even I have a background of 2 decades into soft skills training and executive coaching, leadership coaching, and I've met certain HR managers, and sometimes I wonder, like they are so crisp and so sometimes prefer, like it could have been a more in-depth conversation, probably, understanding the training need analysis, or
Mm-hmm.
sometimes giving feedback, receiving feedback. So how important it is for a HR trainer, or sorry, I mean HR people, to actually be emotionally intelligent, because it's all about human resources, right? So I
Exactly.
think for them, at least I think they need to have high emotional intelligence. Do you also feel that? Yeah.
I feel anyone and everyone in every department needs to have emotional intelligence. It's not
Hmm.
just with HR. We
Yes.
say more with HR because they deal with human resources all the time.
Yes. Yeah.
But if you think of people who are in marketing, people who are in production, in IT,
Hmm.
everyone needs to have some kind of human element, because
Hmm.
if they are in
Hmm.
IT, they are just going more and more towards AI, that is artificial
Hmm. Hmm.
intelligence. And
Hmm.
if you have heard my TED talk, I said very clearly in that it
Yes.
is I over AI, emotional
Yes.
intelligence over artificial intelligence.
Yes.
Because if you connect with people emotionally, they're there
Hmm.
with you. But if you connect with people on an artificial basis, like you are there when you have to smile, you smile. When they're not
Hmm.
there, the smile is gone. So
Yeah.
that's not genuine. That's very fake.
Hmm.
And
Yes.
human beings, if we are fake, or if you're always controlling when to smile, when to laugh,
Hmm.
when to be sad, then it's not something for forever. It's just something short lived, and then we're
Hmm.
not going to have it for a long duration of time.
Hmm.
So, especially as HR, as you just asked me, it's important. As HR manager, you should be a little bit more connected with your colleagues or with your team, so that
Hmm.
you can see who needs what.
Yes.
We actually need to be trained because training is expensive. And if we talk about
Yes.
training in any sphere, it costs money.
Yes.
If we are investing on a particular employee and
Hmm.
he doesn't value it. But
Yeah.
if you invest on someone who values it and sees that, oh my God, my company is spending on me, I need to do something, then
Hmm.
it will work. The results will follow. The productivity is gonna be high. But if you
Yes.
see someone who just thinks of it, it's just given to me. I don't need it, but they're just giving me, so I'll take it. Then they
Hmm.
won't do the. So that's why I think emotional intelligence is important, because when you know who needs what, you
Hmm.
can them, and they will show in their work, they will show in their productivity how good or how effective it actually is.
Yes. So apt, this answer is because unless the problem or the pain points are not understood, the needs are not met.
Mhm.
And then as it is, if the relationship is not really great, the
True.
tendency for that to actually, completely, not at all work. It won't work for either party, and as
Mhm.
it is, the corporates are investing so much money. They are investing so much money into training. And
Mhm.
if the HR people are not really investing their time in understanding the needs, and that happens, as you said, only when you connect to people, only when you have these sometimes, heart to heart conversations, or it could be just simple conversations over a cup of coffee, and not be so very stiff and unrealistic and unemotional sometimes, right? And be emotionally intelligent. So now, as you have talked about in your TED talk, I'll just little dive deeper into that. Now that we have this AI thing, happening so much, and so the whole struggle, I think, I read an article recently. I don't remember the writer, but then it's a very famous writer, but I keep forgetting. What he said was, in this times when AI is going to be so big, the people who have these EI are the ones who will be in highest demand, because they will be the specialists, right? Everybody is doing, like, AI becomes like everybody is doing the same old, it becomes very commonplace. Whereas people with EI or people teaching EI, they become the specialists, and they'll be very few, and so what is it like, what we can do, coming from the training fraternity? How can we spread this awareness now that you're doing it for children, I mean students? What about the women entrepreneurs that you have been interacting? You're on such panels, international panels like the UN, and you're in inspiring Indian women, and that's also, from the House of Parliament. So what can be done to increase the awareness among women?
I think for any kind of awareness, first it's important to see who actually needs it and identify your like-minded group, because as women we are diverse, we are into so many fields. So first you need to see who actually needs those kind of things. And like in my intercultural, I'm the founder, as a founder president of Intercultural. It's an organization, I would say, where I'm trying to get in touch with all women coming from different platforms, coming from diverse backgrounds, yet they don't feel connected because of being in a foreign country. So I'm trying to have like diversity and inclusion kind of a thing, wherein they are good in their fields, but some are still struggling. They have the intelligence, they don't know how to do and what to do. So what I'm doing in this intercultural, my group, is that I'm trying to connect women who are something, and women who are still struggling to find their something. So again, I'm using my emotional intelligence. I'm using my emotions to see who needs what, and every time we once a month here, and every time we meet, we have a themed meeting in which I make each one of them an expert, or I make each one of them the coordinator of that meeting.
Yes.
Even though I'm the president, I say I'm not important. I'm just like one of you. It's not like, this person is most important, so she or he will always be up there. So when each one of them is made responsible for that particular meeting, they feel responsible, automatically. This has been there for almost 1.5 years. And I see the difference in women who initially were shy, or who would always hide, or not even come up. They are wanting to hold the meetings. They are wanting to hold and say something about their country. So these are women from different countries, struggling with French. So the meetings are in French, but still I say, whatever however just conduct it. We will understand. So sometimes not understand the words because they're struggling with the French, but still connect because they're using their emotions, they're using their sign language, they're using their expertise. Like if they have to say that this is good, for example, this is good for you, they will sure that they use all the key words that the message goes across. I just gave you example with one of the things that I'm doing. But it's just something that, I think each woman, if she recognizes what are the fields, what are the areas which are important, I think world is going to become a beautiful place, because we are empowering each other. We are giving visibility and recognition to each other. And that's what is important in today's world.
Absolutely. I think this is a very strong message for my viewers and listeners, that on this important day that we are celebrating, women need to understand that we have been gifted with this emotional intelligence, I think, by more so than men, right? Being right-brained or maybe like that. But most of us would sometimes suppress these emotions and try to become like men. And instead, like you said, use these emotion in such an intelligent way. And when you have these women, expat women, and then you all are not having the tool of language, you can use this as you have done it with showing such great leadership skills. What you're doing is actually trying to see what their needs are, and you are creating leaders out of them. You are creating leaders out of them just by recognizing them and connecting with them emotionally. So I think I just want to kind of what to say, stress on this a bit, Dr. Ruby, because I feel, because this is something which gets missed, even today I had been to a conference, and then one of them had, it was like a funding, for women entrepreneurs. So there were some venture capitalists and some accelerators. They had all come, and then there were pitches happening there. And some of them were pitching for, they had created a AI bot for the bot chat for, and they had integrated AI and EI and empathy. So, they were trying to pitch, but see, and what happens is many of them, they don't know technology, and they may be venture capitalists, they may be, and they keep asking questions. But then sometimes, even when we are pitching, we can bring out our emotional connect, and then try to, it becomes easy for us to present as well. What do you have to say that, because you are in such a situation there where I think all the time women are making pitches at each other because they have to sell their ideas, they have to sell their concepts. So what do you think about this? How can we make best use of our bring out our leadership by becoming emotionally intelligent?
I think as women, we need to be very clear about what we are looking for. Like just because everyone is in AI, we don't have to go in AI. Or just because everyone is talking about blockchain, we don't have to start talking about blockchain. We have to be very clear about what our expertise is, what our niche is. So once we know our core area in which we are strong or which we are really good at, we need to excel at. Because what happens is when we go in every direction, we are neither here nor there. You understand what I mean?
Yes.
It's very difficult because in order to be an expert in everything, women are kind of sometimes struggling. It's not just women. I think men and women both, they are kind of struggling. So it's important to identify your core area, develop it, master it more and more. It's good to be jack of all, but you should be a master of at least one. So that becomes your like key area. Like today, if we talk about non-violence, everyone knows and talks about Mahatma Gandhi, whether it's in India or abroad, everywhere, all over the world. With non-violence, the principle of non-violence, talk about him. Or when we talk about emotional intelligence, we talk about Daniel Goleman. So there are some people you would easily identify with the concept, and that is what is important for especially us women, because we are more emotional, and we want to carve our niche, we want to be known, we want to be up there, and in that, I would say, sometimes in that rat race, we want to go every, and that's what is the main problem. We should not be struggling to go everywhere. We should be focusing on one point at a time, and once we have emerged as a winner or as a key person, then we need to sustain it. Today we talk a lot about sustainability, but if you're not sustaining our own core areas, then what can we do in the future? So we have to be sustainable, we have to keep that and excel at it by and by, so that we become experts at it and we are able to lead others, or we are able to guide others. I think that's what I would do, and that's what I have been.
Yes, very well said, very well said, because sustainability is the key, and probably as things keep changing, we need to also tweak in certain things and innovate our own ways of learning and leading. So you have actually, you are being there as an expat, and have you had challenges from your personal life? Sometimes it could be because of the stress or weather conditions or health conditions. You must have gone through the that common rigmarole where everybody goes through times of feeling low or any challenge, and how did you deal with that? How do you deal?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I had my times of being low as well. Coming to Switzerland, where the language was a big
Uh-huh.
factor and a big cultural shock. I
Yeah.
felt, coming from India, I felt like, I'm in a place where everyone is like so like in their own corner, very much
Uh-huh.
happy and content, not complaining. Whereas in India, we are always happy, happy go lucky, always celebrating and things like that. So yes, in the
Right.
beginning it face kind of feeling low because I felt very
Mm.
like all by myself. So it
Mm.
was a phase that I wanted to connect with people, but because of language I couldn't.
Okay.
So what I did was like, I would just go and try to see at places like library or gym, like the places where I could
Mm.
get some English speaking people, talk to
Mm.
them, try to connect with them, and then make my own group, like sometimes cycling group, sometimes trekking group, like something,
Yes.
where I would just connect
Yeah.
two or three people. And that's how by and by I started working in more and more on my network, how I can
Mm.
create my tribe, my kind of people.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be people from India, it could be from anywhere, but at least people
Yes.
who are like minded, so that
Right.
I can listen to them and they can listen to me. And we feel
Yeah.
happy in each other's lows and ups, and strengths and weaknesses. And it helped me a lot. It helped me a lot by creating those women groups, women networks, different networks
Mm.
for different criterias. And today I can say that I'm very happy because
Yes.
I came very known because of my these networks. They helped me, so they supported me, and we're still supporting each other practically every day in whatever way we can. We do support each other.
Yeah. I think there's a great takeaway in this, that many women who are listening, especially today when I release this video, I think we need to learn from you that networking, even when it is possible in a foreign country where you feel, and that becomes a kind of, there is no other option but to do that. And any human being will always try to find out in a challenge, there is an opportunity. But
True.
when in a country like India, where we are, everything is being given on a platter, as you said, everything is being celebrated, and there are so many festivities happening, we just take it for granted, and we don't have the value for it. And we miss out on the human. Go out, get into small networks or big networks, create those groups offline, online, and help yourself, and help others as well. So that this will actually create a lot of, for you as well as other women, there could be a lot of bonding happening. There could be so much of, you would be raising each other's spirits, and you would be learning as well as gaining knowledge as well as so many other things in life. So
True.
can you talk about, a few things that are close to your heart, apart from these two things, how do
Mm-hmm.
you kind of spend your, what are your other passions, and what is your vision for the future? What do you see? I mean, like, where do you want to see your women whom you
Mm-hmm.
are trying to, bring them up? And you have created such wonderful networks all throughout, and you being recognized by big names.
True. True.
Where do you want them to go, and also where will you take them to?
I think I'm very blessed. I would say I'm
Yeah.
blessed to have always being surrounded by supportive women.
Mm.
The first woman that I would really want to say on this particular day is my mom. She
Mm.
has been my biggest inspiration throughout. Like, as a
Okay.
girl, I was a very shy and timid person. Coming from a TEDx speaker, you won't believe it.
I
But
can't believe that. I just can't believe it.
But if you ask my schoolmates or my college,
Okay.
even in college, I was a very shy girl. I would always be
Okay.
shying and hiding behind other girls so that the teacher wouldn't see me to speak in
Okay.
the class or come forward and speak about something. But
Mm.
it was my mom who pushed me, who said
Okay.
that you can do it. Like because
Mm.
she could see as my creator, she could see that probably maybe I had something or whatever.
Mm.
So I'm very grateful to my mom that she recognized that passion in me. She
Mm.
recognized something in me, that she kept on pushing me and putting me on different platforms and telling me to do something which I liked, not
Mm.
because I should get a sanction from the society, it's okay. But
Mm.
because I want it, I should go for it.
Mm.
So he is the first person who receives my complete, like my complete, uh,
Gratitude.
yes, yes,
Gratitude. Yeah. Right.
yes.
Uh,
And the second person who's there and who's constantly pushing me is my husband. You know,
okay.
we say that behind every successful man there's a woman, but
Uh,
I can very strongly and very proudly say that behind me there have been my
yeah.
mom, my husband, who have
Yeah.
been doing it side by side. Of course my dad has always been there, but
Mm.
as a woman she would always push, because my dad was very protective about me.
Okay.
So he
Okay.
would always try to protect me, don't do this, don't do that. But my
Mm.
mom was like, let her do, let her do. So she was always pushing.
Yeah.
Um, I have a younger sister. My mom would always make sure that there's no like difference between the two of us. So she would
Mm.
always make sure that we are going together.
Mm.
But my dad was always very protective. I don't know, as a firstborn, he was very protective about me.
Okay.
And thereafter, having a supportive husband in a foreign country
Mm.
really was like an eye opener, because I
Mm.
was a very protective kid. You know, all the
Mm.
time parents were there for me, but my husband, he was like, you have to do it, go
Yeah.
for it. So he was constantly pushing me. And by and by, because as I said, I connected with people emotionally, I connected with women
Mm.
or men with my heart. And that's
Mm.
what helped me. Like, even being so far away in Switzerland, I'm connected with people in India who
Mm.
often invite me for different workshops or for trainings or for talking, for speaking,
Mm.
as well
Yeah.
as in London, in UK. Like last year, I was there for two different awards. This
Mm.
year, I was invited for this one, the Indian Inspiring Women for She Inspires Award, which was held
Mm-hmm.
recently. I just told you in House of Parliament, where I
Yeah.
was a finalist in the education sector. And
Mm.
the one that is coming up on 9th, where I'm going to be receiving the Mayor's Award. I'm
Mm.
really very happy and very fortunate that it is happening. And it's
Mm.
all through the virtual connection, the networks that I've
Mm.
created with the women out there, they helping me and I helping them. And I'm
Yes.
proud to share with our audience that there's another Indian Ladies Association in Belgium.
Okay.
So they have invited me as a guest of honor.
Mm.
Again, it's for a function which was supposed to be on 21st of March for,
Okay.
again, Indian inspiring women in Belgium. All the
Mm.
women who have made a mark in different fields. Some are in education, some are in technology, some are in social things,
Mm.
art and literature. So I felt very, fortunate. Like, sitting here in Switzerland, I have been invited as a guest of honor to attend that event.
Yeah.
So, but because of the outbreak of coronavirus, all the travels are kind of come to a halt. So we are
Yeah.
doing it virtually. I will be going in to Belgium somewhere in the future. But
Mm.
see, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, sitting here, we are
Yes.
connected. We are connected. Be it India, be it China. I have some
Yeah.
of the friends there in China as well. Then
Yes.
in UK, in Gulf countries, like last 2 years back, I was in Bahrain, where I was invited
Mm.
by the Queen of Bahrain, and where we addressed again women empowerment.
Mm.
So there is no limiting yourself. If as a woman, like
Yes.
you know that you have the wings, but how much to open your wings, unless you
Mm.
don't experiment it, you will not know
Yes.
how high you can fly. You just know
Yes.
you have wings, to keep on fluttering them. But if
Yes.
you open more and more, you can see that you can actually go higher. you know
Yes.
and that's us women need to see, because we are not sure about ourselves. We
Yes.
know we have,
Yes.
but we are not sure. So we need each other's support to tell this, yes, Janvi, you can do it.
Yes.
And
Yes. Absolutely agree.
then you're
Yeah.
actually try. But if Janvi knows I can do, but she is kind of scared, not sure about herself, she needs
Yeah.
someone like Ruby to give her that push,
Yeah.
and together you can fly high. And that's what I have
Yes.
been here and practically everywhere globally,
Yeah.
to support women, whether with my talks, whether with my YouTube channels where I put a lot
Mm.
of motivational videos, or by actually going to the places. If I'm able to
Yeah.
go, then I
Yeah.
actually go support these women as much as I can.
Yeah, actually, I'm seeing that, all that on the social media. There is one or the other, like function you are attending, and then you're being invited, you're being awarded, and everything is very visible, they're socially very visible. But the one point that you made, just stuck with me, that it is so important to women to understand that how we can network is, it's not just physically going and attending things or being being a member of an organization. It's about how you actually send out that vibe, I mean, like they say, your vibe attracts your tribe, but then you need to make that effort, which
True.
is, I feel that can be enhanced more. And you gave that very beautiful example of the wings which are existing, but then if I keep fluttering, then I'm just fluttering. But instead, if I just open it up a little bit and slowly I make that effort, I can
True.
actually start flying, and I can get mentored by people like you, and you can actually take a great flight into your passion areas of passion. So that
True.
was a beautiful, I would say, this, a kind of, what do you call that? I'm not getting that word, that grammatical word, but that's the symbol of a
I
woman
created a scenario.
capability.
Yeah, I created a
Yeah, a
scenario.
metaphor, a
Yeah,
great metaphor for
exactly.
women's, getting liberated from her own chains. Because
Exactly.
this whole platform, Dr. Ruby, I've created just to create the awareness that it's called Story to Satori. And the
Mm-hmm.
first series is what I'm all, kind of interviewing and sharing stories of women, because we women, as you rightly said, that we have been conditioned with a lot of these stories that about our own, like negative beliefs and doubts, and it's all about in our head, and if we start actually recreating them and standing in that movement of Satori, which I'm actually seeing right now. I'm seeing right now that when you told about the bird, it's like a Satori movement for me, where I'm realizing the potential is huge.
True.
So, and we have to actually stand in our potential and see that light and power that we have it. So, can you
True.
just give a few more tips to the women and women entrepreneurs who are watching this show on this particular eventful day of International Women's Day, that how can a woman get out of these kind of shackles of, can you share your own story, like how you were a shy girl, you said, and your mother gave you the push, but then
True.
finally action is yours, right? Somebody gives us a push, but
Mm-hmm.
then finally it's me who is taking the action, right?
True.
Nobody
Very
else can take that, your mother would have motivated you.
true.
Because I remember, you have given a talk and you have written an article as well, where you
Mm-hmm.
say, actually you talk about the Maslow's, theory, where
Mm-hmm.
you say the social engagement that happens and social needs are in the middle of the, the triangle which Maslow
Yeah.
talks about, all
Yeah.
the basic needs, and
Yeah.
then you have the self actualization and self realization. So
Exactly.
unless, I was just wondering, the other day, like we all have almost met with the basic needs, most of us are struggling, I think, at that middle level,
Mm-hmm.
where our social needs are not, though we are on social media all the time, that doesn't mean we are really, actually, we're being socially, all our needs are getting met. It's
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it can get very superfluous and superficial.
Mm-hmm.
So nowadays, at least the millennials, and most of your students are millennials, and the
Mm-hmm.
women, there are a lot of women who are just getting into influencer marketing, and
True.
they're into the freedompreneurs, and they are solopreneurs,
Mm-hmm.
and they're just taking selfies and putting it on the social media. I'm not saying it's wrong or anything, but
Mm-hmm.
the real social needs is to connect, right? It may not be like person in person. It's not happening now, not happening right now, but then
True.
we are so much connected. As you said, it's all about the common vibes, or the thought, the perspectives that are resonating, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So can you talk about that, like how should these millennials, women, and even sometimes men as well, they can also benefit from
Exactly.
emotional intelligence. Why not? When your husband is giving so much support,
Yes.
I think we should on this day also give the credit to the men in our lives. Why not?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
See, if you have seen my Women Empowerment certificate program, which is a humanitarian program that I've created as a Global Goodwill Ambassador on
Mm,
YouTube. So, anyone and everyone, all the people in your network are invited to take that. It's completely free.
Okay.
I'm not charging anything for it. It's completely free. They are free to take the program and earn a certificate where they actually understand what is women empowerment. Because
Hmm.
it's a myth that it's about putting women on pedestal and men down, but it's not that.
Yeah.
I believe completely in equal. Like, when we say we are
Yes.
equal, so men and women, they are equal. They are two sides of a car, like in a car or in a scooter. Like if it's a
Yes.
scooter, you need to have two. If it's a car, we need to have four wheels. So
Yeah.
men and women, like Shiva Shakti, an
Yeah.
Indian, being an Indian
Yes.
and Indian philosophy, it is like Shiva Shakti. So if Shiva
Hmm.
and Shakti are together, you combine your forces together, you can
Hmm.
do wonders. But if any of the form, whether it's a Shiva or the
Hmm.
Shakti, if they believe that they are dominant or they should be more prominent, it's
Hmm.
then when the car goes for a toss. The car goes, it will go either way. So it
Yeah.
is important to have a harmony and balance in life.
Hmm.
If you're a married woman, you have to have that balance with your husband. Get the support from your husband or your partner. That's
Yes.
very important. You can't do it by yourself. It's okay. Your women friends are there, your mother, your father, they are there. But
Hmm.
as a woman, if you are thinking forward, you have to have the
Hmm.
support from someone who can, take you further. So one is
Yeah.
that philosophy, especially
Hmm.
if you are a married woman. But if
Hmm.
you are a single woman, it doesn't stop there. You are on your own. You are a smart woman. You are on your own. You can
Hmm.
go forward. You can lead yourself much stronger. I
Yeah.
mean, I can tell you, when 4 years back I was speaking at Women Economic Forum.
Hmm.
I think it was in Women Economic Forum in Amsterdam. Yes.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I was there. I met a couple of women who all had their stories, who had their share of plus and minus, who looked very smart, very intelligent, but inside they had
Hmm.
their trauma stories. So
Hmm.
for me, it was eye awakening or eye opener that
Hmm.
even if you superficially you look calm, you look composed, but
Yeah.
inside you have things going on. It doesn't matter whether you are up there as a successful, super successful businesswoman, everything is
Hmm.
okay in your life. It's
Yeah.
not like that. Nothing is perfect.
Right.
Imperfections are always there.
Yes.
It's totally on us how we make those imperfections calm
Hmm.
and go with the pace. That's very important. And
Hmm.
that's what I tell, whether it's my students or it's my co-workers or people or or the women in my network,
Hmm.
that we need to learn each and every day. You can't take it for granted that I am in a cool place, or I'm up there, or I'm up here. I'm very safe in my safety needs. I
Yes.
have everything. I am okay. I'm comfortable. Maybe today you are, but if you don't
Hmm.
make an effort, you can come crashing down.
Right.
And women, those who show, whether they're taking selfies or trying to show wherever they are, whichever part of the world they are, they're just doing it because they want to show to the world that they are happy. But
Hmm.
happiness
Hmm.
is just not in the virtual world. Happiness has to be something which has to be felt in the heart you know
Yes.
so if
Yes.
you are happy, it will depict on your face, it will come on
Yes.
your face. I connect with so many women as well as men
Hmm.
through LinkedIn, who
Hmm.
say, like, seeing your talks, seeing your videos, we feel
Hmm.
motivated. And when
Yeah.
some say, I want my daughter to be like you, or I
Okay.
want my son to be like you, so
Hmm.
it's already soothing, like it shows that my message is going there, even
Yes.
if I'm sitting here, but it is reaching the jungles of Africa, where
Hmm.
some of the
Hmm.
people, they are downloading my YouTube videos,
Wow.
carrying it to at places where there's no internet, you know
Oh. Okay.
so when people are doing things like this, then I feel blessed. I don't have to say much, I feel blessed. But at the same time, I would like to tell the people in your network, don't just go with anything and everything you see on virtual world, because there
Hmm.
are some dangers as well. You can't just trust everything. So
Yes.
if people are asking you for help, great, you should help, but not help every Tom, Dick and Harry that you could need help yourself.
Yes.
That's again where your emotions come into action. Use your
Yeah.
emotions, see whether I'm trusting the right person or not. And I think
Hmm.
it comes with experience, that comes gradually, that won't come
Yes.
like magic formula or a ruby formula, press this and it will be,
No, it can't. Yeah.
it will gradually come, it will gradually
Yes.
come. But
Hmm.
of course, through networks, through LinkedIn or through any social network, whether it's
Yeah.
Facebook or any media, you will get a hang of the people, whether they're
Hmm.
active genuinely your friends who need to
Yes.
collaborate to bring something wonderful in you.
Huh.
They're just using you, or they could be just they want your name, they want to be featuring in story, your story network, this thing podcast.
Huh.
But then in future they don't want to do anything. If they see actually Janvi somewhere, they don't who
Huh.
Janvi, you
Yeah.
know. So you
Yeah.
don't want that. You don't want that. And to have a true relationship or a genuine relationship, it is important that you
Mm.
have to go both ways. Like, you have to understand,
Mm.
identify, and then collaborate. Just
Yeah.
don't say yes to every person because they're coming to you. So you have to be a bit careful there.
I think that's a very strong message for all women, including me. And as you said, yeah, many a time, we women get carried away by emotions. And that's also a kind of emotional intelligence that trust is something that in every relationship is so important. And that
True.
happens, that can't happen overnight. It's like a trial and error. We put the trust in some person and it could be broken by the other person. So,
True.
especially in this era of social media and artificial intelligence and so many people wanting to get into your network in LinkedIn, on Facebook, and so taking self care is so important, and
True.
not getting carried away or overwhelmed by information, by the profiles, the external aura of the people. So it's so important, as Dr. Ruby said, that get more grounded and uh, take one thing at a time, not get overwhelmed. So these are very strong messages you are giving, Dr. Ruby. I mean, and it's so very helpful. I'm sure, because see, it's like a heart to heart talk we are having. It may look very ordinary at the surface, but then if you really listen to it, I think there are a lot of golden nuggets which women, millennials, whoever is listening definitely can understand. Emotional intelligence, of which she is an expert, I think is a subject that is not taught in schools and colleges, unfortunately. And one learns it once they get into corporates.
Mm-hmm.
And I have done these programs for corporate techies, and that becomes so difficult when you do it when they are working, they're already stressed. So
True.
you must have also done it, right? And you must have found out how it has affected their relationships with their bosses, with their
True.
peers. And can you talk about that theory of motivation, which
Mm-hmm.
again is associated with Maslow's law? I mean, need not necessarily be theoretical. I wanted your perception about day-to-day life,
Mm-hmm.
because we get motivated when we are in the company of people who are motivating as well. But that doesn't mean that we always have to expect them to motivate us.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is your take on that? Because trust, motivation, and relationships, how do
True.
you all the three together, for our viewers and listeners, very important
True.
to
True.
figure out. Yeah.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
as I said that it's very important to have a balance. Like you need to
Mm,
have that eye and ear open all the time, that you can see those kind of people, and open your mouth wisely. Eyes and
mm,
ears, they see all the time. It's like involuntary action. You're seeing, you can't close your eyes or turn your eye from something. You're just seeing, you can just act that you're seeing or not seeing. But mouth is something like, once you say something, it's like a bullet. it
yes.
gets fired, it can't be taken back. Or you can say like, you're stupid, and then you say, oh, I'm sorry, I said that. It's like a bullet. Once you
Yes.
said, it's gone. The harm,
Yes.
if it's a bad message, the harm is done. If it's a good message, you have made a relationship. So same,
Yes.
if we say Maslow's theory, it's important. Like, if you are one of those fortunate people who didn't have to struggle for
Mm,
your basic needs, basic physiological,
mm,
then of course you are the fortunate person that you move on to the safety needs. And
mm,
when today's world, if we say safety for people who are in millennials, they are still a little bit struggling. But if you see Generation Z, they're very
mm.
clear about what they want. Like, they're not
Yeah.
struggling. They're not like people who are like, I want this, I want this, I want to be up there. They're clear in their mind what they're looking for. They're not just looking for certain careers.
Mm, mm.
As millennials, they are like, you have to be an engineer, you have to be a bureaucrat. Like, it's not like you have to be. Whereas
Mm.
generation is quite opposite. They think what they are good at. As I said in the beginning, they see
Yes.
what they're good at and they move forward, taking baby steps. So it might, and they're doing multitasking. They are taking baby steps, but at the same time, they're thinking 10 different things at the same time. And if you see people from our generation or people from our parents' generation, they would say, do one thing, but do it your best. But the present generation is they're doing multiple things, and that's why they're multitasking, because their hands are everywhere and they're focusing on certain things in which they think they can be better. They're still not sure, or they're still not sure what to do that. So
Yeah.
again, it's not as a woman or as a man, as a human being. I think it's important that we should take baby steps. We should not be struggling to be everywhere, because that's what is happening with social media, where there's so much information. We are exposed to so much
Yeah.
information that
Yeah.
there's information load, overload.
Hmm.
But in the past, if you did not know, you did not know, and you did not care, right?
Yes.
Now what is happening is, the more you know, the
Hmm.
more you are getting carried away, the more you're getting stressed.
Yes.
And that's the reason today we are talking so much about yoga. We are going back to basics. We are talking
Yes.
about yoga. We are talking about inner engineering. We are talking about spiritual healing,
Yes.
which had gone, which had practically gone. It was there somewhere, but only few people were following it. And now
Hmm.
in the West, it is becoming like a fashion. People are like,
Yeah.
I need inner peace. I need
Yeah.
to practice yoga.
Yeah.
So these are because they're becoming stressed. There are a lot of people who are going for burnout. I can't take it anymore. Yeah, they are there, but they're not able to do anything.
Yes.
That's just happening because we want to do everything. We are struggling. We're not able to focus on one thing.
Hmm.
So my message would be like, focus on one thing at a time.
Hmm.
And once that one thing is done, move on. Be
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
keep on polishing it, keep on making it that it's there,
Hmm.
shine brighter and brighter,
Yeah.
and then move on to something better and better. So take
Hmm.
baby steps, sustain it, be consistent.
Hmm.
Don't keep on switching,
Hmm.
because the more you're switching, that means you're not sure here. That's why you're
Yes.
struggling to find your niche. So it is important that you need to focus well and keep on
Hmm.
moving with your expertise. Know your strengths. By and by, that won't come in a 1 day or 2 days. It will come with
Yes.
experience. So I mean, I never knew that I'm gonna be an international speaker one day.
Yeah.
Who could hardly speak, or who would shy away, is today
Yeah.
talking all over in different platforms, invited to be giving that guidance to other people. It's just
Hmm.
with experience. I think it's just with experience that we learn. We make mistakes. We should not be we should not be afraid of falling.
Yeah.
That's another thing, because we always think we have to be perfect, we have to be best. So
Yeah.
don't have that scenario. I think that I learned here. I
Hmm.
was raised by, as a kid, don't make
Hmm.
mistakes. You are the elder of the family, you have to be a good one. You have to be the gentle one.
Yeah.
But coming to West, I learned this, that you don't have to be perfect. You
Yeah.
have the, as a human, you have the right to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes.
Yes.
So if you make a mistake, boom, it's okay. Second,
Yes.
you'll do better.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid of making mistakes. Make mistakes. Go for second try, go for third try. And of course, you're going to be a better person, because failures are a stepping stone to success.
Yes.
So don't think of failure as you have not made it. Think of
Hmm.
failure as a stepping stone to success, that you are going to do something better next time.
Yeah.
I think
I,
I make my message loud and clear, that
yes.
education is a continuous mission of my
Yeah.
life,
Huh.
and you should never be afraid to fail. Keep failing if that is what is going to be your something better in the future, like a stepping stone to something better in the future. And
Yeah.
learn new things every day. And with education, I don't mean education by your degrees, but
Hmm.
education, doing something, learning something new every day, to make your life a better life. Connect
Yes.
with people, learn from each other every day. And if every one of us does it, I think world is going to become a beautiful place. We'll automatically minus
Absolutely.
the option, and we are going to be in a beautiful place where everyone is benefiting, everyone is helping and supporting each other.
Absolutely. I think that you're creating that. And what a strong message for the Z generation. Because as you said, they have so many options, and maybe as the previous generations, they didn't have options. And so they didn't care about that, they had only one or two, like become an engineer or get into administration. So they just thought about that, and there was so much of pressure, like you said. Whereas in the as you see in the West, they have a different attitude. You can fail, you can make mistakes, and those were very. But the best thing that I heard, of course, all were very, very valuable, is keep become aware of what you speak, because once you say,
True.
I think once that word is out, then you can't change it or recreate it. So I
Exactly.
think listening and seeing is something involuntary, but this is something voluntary.
Exactly.
So take care of what you speak, and those were, I think, yeah, definitely. So I have some few, a few more questions so that our viewers understand. You talked about human values in a wonderful article that you have written,
Mhm.
and you spoke of so much in depth that these values is what actually creates your personality. And you talked about free will and responsibility, so
Mhm.
that touched my heart so much that uh, for anybody, irrespective of gender or age,
Mhm.
so we all have values, and we want certain, we have also a dream, right?
True. True.
So how does one create values which will actually make that person
Mhm.
achieve those dreams? Is it
Mhm.
that anyone can have any value and try to achieve a dream, or how does these the interplay of values, uh, free will and responsibility and a dream, because these are all kind of human factors, working on human mind.
True.
So
True.
can you give some parting thoughts on that?
Yes, I talked about in an article about free will, responsibility, and human values.
Yes.
So, like I said, coming from India, we have our
Mm.
Indian philosophy and a very, very rich Indian culture
Yeah.
that always guides us.
Yes.
So, it's totally up to us what we take and what we
Mm.
don't take. Today we can
Mm.
just guide our children to do this, but we
Mm.
can't be for them that you have to do it. Like,
Mm.
being away in Switzerland, I'm trying my level best to celebrate. Like, for example, for us Kashmiri Pandits, Shivratri is
Mm.
one of the biggest festival. So
Yeah.
if I wanted, I could have just done something, but not everything. But
Mm.
because I think it's my free will, I
Mm.
take this as a responsibility that I need to teach my children.
Mm.
So I'm doing it. But no one is forcing me. My parents didn't tell me, my in-laws didn't tell me that you have to do it. So
Okay.
it's the free will. If you want to do something, doesn't matter if you have a lot of difficulties or you have issues to do it, you will definitely do. But
Mm.
something which you don't want to do, even if you
Mm.
have the best of opportunities, you will not do. So
Yes.
it's ultimately your free will, what you want to do, what you want to carry forward. Take it
Yeah.
as responsibility, like a moral responsibility. Like if you see
Mm.
right now, Modi in India, he's doing Swachh Bharat, keep
Yeah.
Padhao Beti Bachao. Those kind
Yeah.
of movements are happening. In the past, we had also like, get rid of Parda system. So
Mm.
these are all movements which have been done by all these transformational leaders like Raja Ram Mohan Roy or Gandhi ji. So
Mm.
if we think of them and if we
Mm.
try to get them now here
Mm.
in part of the world, if you take that as a responsibility, you will do it. But if you
Mm.
think of them as a philosophy, see it from one like eye or listen from one ear and take it out from the other, it's
Mm.
not gonna help. So it's totally your moral responsibility what you want to give to your future generation.
Mm-hmm.
Imbibe it and practice it. Don't just speak, because if
Mm.
you're speaking but you're a preacher but you're not practicing it.
Yes.
So I believe if you believe in the values that you want to give to the future generation, take it
Mm.
as a responsibility and lead it. Lead
Mm.
towards a
Yes.
better future. So whatever you want to give them, practice it. Keep on seeing. Keep on organizing things. Like don't talk it in a very like a Mahatma, or don't talk it in a difficult language.
Mm.
Uh, Say it in a way that kids enjoy. If you're talking to the children, if you're talking
Yeah.
to the others, or whoever is your audience, use
Mm.
different
Mm.
methods to get across your message. Because
Yes.
if the same message I'm talking about in here in West, I try to
Mm.
talk to them in such a way that they enjoy it. They stand as well as enjoy, and that is what is important. Whatever you believe in, take it as a
Yeah.
moral responsibility. That based on who your audience is, keep on converting the message, keep on changing the message so that they understand it and they become the preachers in the future.
Yeah. So each one has got this, free will to use, and
Exactly.
the values that they have need to be actually executed through that free will. I mean, it can't be without the free will. So
Exactly.
they make a choice, and then how you execute that
Hmm.
also depends on your, it's not just you have a free will, you do anything you like, but it
Hmm.
becomes your moral responsibility, as you said, so
Exactly.
that you can leave those, legacies, right, for the future
Exactly.
generations. And you've
Exactly.
been doing that, and that advice about not just talking, as you
Hmm.
said, but practice it, and then you can actually, give a talk on that. And the best part was, as you said, the message has to be according to the audience. It just can't be so, and we can apply this in any many other contexts, especially in corporate. And we have so many people, educated people, watching these videos, and they can learn, like as you said, even women entrepreneurs. We cannot just have the same language, the same message in every context. It has to be
Exactly.
different. We need to take care of the audience as well,
Hmm.
I mean,
Hmm.
uh, right? And that's a beautiful message on this International Women's Day.
Well,
So I really want to thank you for giving your precious time, and especially on such a day when you also have great celebrations to be done. And thank you for your time. It was great having you on the show. And any last message for our viewers and for Story to Satori? Because these were a lot of Satori moments where we can actually learn from people like you.
my message to all the viewers is just keep doing your best and believe in yourself because you are the better you and you know it. So, the more
Yeah,
you believe in yourself, you can just lead anywhere and everywhere you want to.
great. That is awesome. So believing in ourselves is what is required now. We have
Exactly.
it in us. We have it
Exactly.
in us.
To have it,
Thank you.
be the awesome you. Be the awesome you
Be
today and
awesome, you.
forever.
Especially women, watch out and listen to this podcast. Thank you so much, Dr. Ruby, for being on the show.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.